Hello students, today we will be studying about macro and micronutrients. Now as we all know that for survival, for living, all the living organisms require nutrition. They require nutrients. Why do the similar same thing with microorganisms also? They require nutrients for their survival. Now what is nutrition basically? It is a chemical substance which they take it from the environment, which is available naturally in the environment, and which these nutrients which are taken up by these microorganisms are used in various cellular activities. Now some nutrients are required in large amounts and some in small amounts. Now why do they require? So that they can construct carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, nucleic acids and various other things which is required for the various activities of the cell. Now why do they require this nutrition? Why do they require to build up this carbohydrates or lipids or etc.? For reproduction, for repair, that is if the cells undergo some damage, then they require for repair, for the various metabolic activities, for motility. And if the microorganism is pathogenic in nature, for the pathogenicity also the microorganism requires nutrition. Then the nutrients, we can classify the requirements for the microorganisms can be classified as micro and macronutrients, that is the nutrients part of it. Other than that, they also require growth factors. Growth factors are the compounds, the organic compounds that cannot be synthesized by bacteria by taking in any other form of nutrients. It has to be supplied to them in a ready-made form, like vitamins, amino acids. They cannot be synthesized by microorganisms. They have to be given in the ready-made form to them. And other environmental factors like the physical conditions, example temperature. Now these are the basic things that is required for the growth of microorganism. Now since we are talking about nutrition, the nutrients that the organisms are taking in or that is required can be categorized into two types: macronutrients and micronutrients. Now what do you mean by the macronutrients? Macronutrients are also called as macro elements. Remember, macronutrients are also called as macro elements. Now these are the nutrients that is required by the microorganisms in large quantities, not in trace amounts. If it is given in small amounts, it may not be sufficient, or the organisms could go for starvation. These nutrients are required in large amount, that has to be given or supplied to the organisms in huge amounts. Now what are these? It can be carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, phosphorus and sulfur. These are the things that is required in large amounts. Okay, now if why carbon is required in large amounts? The entire skeleton of the entire body of the microorganism is majorly made up of carbon. It requires it requires glucose in the organic form, and in the inorganic form it requires carbon dioxide. Now why glucose? Glucose is one component which after it gets broken down into smaller components, ultimately it gives rise to pyruvate through various steps. When this gets broken down, when glucose gets broken down into pyruvate, it releases out energy, and this energy is the one which is required by the which is utilized by the microorganisms for various purposes like reproduction, motility, etc. So that is the thing. Inorganic, that is for the respiration, for the anaerobic organisms, they require glucose. So that is the carbon source. And if you see the glucose molecule, it is a molecule which is made up of carbon backbone. It is made up of 5 carbon atoms. So the backbone of glucose molecule is made up of carbon, and without glucose the energy cannot be produced. No energy, then the microorganisms cannot carry out their activities. The next one is hydrogen. You know that the 80% of the cell's body is made up of water, and water is consists of 2 molecules of hydrogen and 1 molecule of oxygen. So that's the reason why hydrogen is required. 80% of the cell's body requires water, then how much of hydrogen may be required? So that is one of the reasons. And also, if you see the structure of DNA, if you see the structure of DNA, this is the structure of DNA, molecular structure of DNA and RNA. If you see, it is made up of sugar phosphate backbone and the nitrogenous bases. If you see the sugar, it is made up of sugar also. If you see that also as OH, H molecules, CH2 molecules, which has hydrogen in that. So, and also the nitrogenous groups, there also hydrogen is a major component. So that is the reason hydrogen is required. Coming to the next component is oxygen. Oxygen is another major component for respiration. Organisms respire continuously, and every time they respire, oxygen is required. All the aerobic organisms require oxygen. So that is the main thing. Apart from that, if you see the DNA structure or the RNA structure, I told you it is made up of sugar phosphate backbone and nitrogenous bases. If you see the sugar, it is made up of 5 carbon atoms and also 1 oxygen molecule is involved there. So apart from respiration, oxygen is also required in the formation of the DNA and RNA. The next component that is required is nitrogen. Nitrogen, again, if you see the structure of DNA, sugar phosphate backbone, apart from that nitrogenous bases. What are these nitrogenous bases? Purines and pyrimidines, that is thymine, cytosine, guanosine, adenine, uracil, etc. Now if you see these nitrogenous bases, why do you call them nitrogenous bases? Because they have nitrogen molecule as their backbone. Every nitrogenous basis has nitrogen as their backbone. So definitely in the construction of the DNA or in the formation of DNA, this nitrogen plays a major role. Not only that, also it is used in protein and amino acid synthesis and nucleic acid synthesis, polymerization. I just told you how it is. Phosphorus. Now phosphorus is very important in the formation of nucleic acids. As I have mentioned to you, the DNA and the RNA, it is made up of the sugar phosphate backbone. Okay, it is made up of sugar phosphate backbone. Now sugar, we have seen what are the requirements. Phosphate, now if phosphate is not there, the backbone cannot happen, and if the backbone does not happen, then the nitrogenous bases cannot be held and the DNA will not be held like that. So that's the reason why the phosphate is required. If the backbone itself is missing, the phosphate is missing, then the DNA will not bind like that, it won't have it won't stand like that. So that's the reason the phosphate is required. So in the construction of the nucleic acids. Coming to, we just now saw about phosphorus. Coming to sulfur. Now sulfur is one component, or not most of the textbooks tell sulfur is a amino acid which is there, or which is a macro element, but most of the textbooks tell that sulfur is also a macro element. It is required in the formation of certain amino acids like cysteine and methionine. So that is these are the requirements for macro elements. Macro elements, students, remember that they are required in huge number, in large quantities by the microorganisms. Coming to the micro elements. Now micro elements, they are also called as trace elements, TRACE. Micro elements, they are also called as trace elements. Now all these that we saw here are the macro elements we just now studied. All these are the micro elements. If you see, micro elements are potassium, calcium, magnesium, iron, and manganese, zinc, cobalt. This also can be sodium. This also can be considered as the micro elements. They are required in small amounts, very small amounts, maybe in milligrams or micrograms they may be required. But that doesn't mean to say that if these things are not given, the organisms can survive. No, they have to be given to the microorganisms, but really in small amounts, in trace amounts. Now let us see the requirement of calcium. Now, why calcium is required? Calcium is the requirement for the formation of, or you can say that we all know the endospores. What are endospores? The organisms, when favorable unfavorable conditions come, what do? They want to survive. So how do they survive? That is, they form a protective coat, many layers around themselves, so that they and at that undergoes a period of rest. They do not respire, or they do not feed, but many protective layers are there, wherein high temperature, high change in pH, or lack of nutrients can be can survive in these conditions. So now this coat, many layers of coat, is made up of calcium. So that is required for the organisms for the formation of endospores, the coat, for the formation of coat for the endospores during unfavorable conditions. So for the formation of resistant bacterial, it forms a heat resistant coat around the bacterial endospores. That is what it means. Potassium, what is the requirement for potassium? It acts as an enzyme, okay, in the protein synthesis. During protein synthesis, it acts like a enzyme. Apart from potassium, I also told you about sodium. It maintains a balance of sodium potassium ratio, and also avoids unwanted elements that enter into the cell. And also, because sodium is able to maintain the sodium potassium ratio, what happens to the microorganisms is it avoids osmosis. Osmosis is a movement of water from the region of its higher concentration to the region of lower concentration, so it prevents osmosis. Apart from that, magnesium, it acts as like a cofactor during the synthesis, during various activities, reactions of the cell. And also it helps in to stabilize the cell membrane and the ribosomes. uh, Ribosomes, as you know, it is made up of two units, so it helps to maintain the ribosomes, or stabilize the ribosomes, and also maintains to stabilize the cell membrane. Iron, uh, iron is required, or it is a major part of the cytochrome. Now what is this cytochrome? Cytochrome is one component that is there in the TCA. It is one component that is present in the TCA, that is electron transport chain. Now what is this electron transport chain? Electron transport chain is the movement of electrons from one component to another. Now when the electrons are moving from one component to another, there is a release of energy is produced when the electrons are moving from one component to another. Now what are these components? One of the components that the electrons are moving is cytochrome. Okay, now, and cytochrome, if it has to be produced, iron forms a major role there. And also it acts as a cofactor, or it acts like an enzyme during the various activities or synthesis of the cell. So that is about the micro elements. So macro elements, we had seen, it is phosphorus, nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen and carbon. Sulfur also is mentioned, I told you why. And these are the ones which is required in large quantities. They are called as macro elements or macronutrients. Micronutrients, which is required in trace amounts, small amounts, that includes potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, iron. So these are the micronutrients. Thank you, students.